Hello, my name is Shantae Stevens. I am the SOS Prevention Coordinator for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida. Now, throughout these sessions, we are going to focus on character, leadership, and cyberbullying. When it comes to character and leadership, we are going to tune into some of those core values that helps build those character and leadership skills. Later down the line, we are going to talk about the warning signs of cyberbullying and how you and your children can handle those types of situations. So in this particular video, we are going to focus on two of the main core values of character and leadership. And those are respect and responsibility. Now, we all know what respect is. And we're going to talk about respect in two different ways. We're going to talk about respect as in respecting yourself, so self-respect, and we're going to be talking about respecting others. Let's start off with self-respect. How do you teach your kids about self-respect? So one way is to let them know that no one is perfect. A lot of times when kids make mistakes, our first response is to reprimand or to get angry. And when that happens, sometimes kids can really shut down. They can really think, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing I've done. I'm such a horrible person because I made this mistake. And that's not what we want them to feel. You want them to feel as though it's okay that they made a mistake, learn from it, and we're going to move on. So it's important to be mindful of their feelings when they make a mistake. Children who grow up in supportive families are more likely to develop healthy self-respect, which encourages them to believe in themselves more, to believe in their abilities more, and encourages them to make good choices for themselves later down the line. So now let's get into respecting others. Respect is a two-way street. Kids are not born respectful. That is something that is learned, and they learn it from their parents. They learn it from the people who are around them and people who are important to them. And they learn through imitation and direct teaching. So it's important that we teach the kids about respect and how to be respectful. So things like when they're developing, teaching them that hitting is wrong, teaching them to use their inside voice and no screaming. Those are important lessons that help kids become respectful. For example, if you're on the phone and they're steadily calling your name, trying to get your attention, teach them that, okay, if you put your hand on my arm like this and I put my hand on top of yours, that means I understand that you need me, and as soon as I get done with this conversation, then I'm going to tend to you. So that's teaching them how to be respectful and not just screaming your name and screaming somebody's name. Also, starting from a young age, stress kindness and empathy. Let them understand that being kind is important. Another thing is, say they're trying new foods and they are like, yuck, I don't like it. Instead of doing that, try to teach them, don't yuck somebody else's yum. That's the phrase I like to say. Don't yuck somebody else's yum. Because just because you don't like it doesn't mean everybody else doesn't like it. So sometimes, you have to teach them that just because they feel like this, it doesn't necessarily apply to everybody else. So that's teaching them how to respect other people's opinions and other people's things and other people's space. The last thing we're going to talk about respect is how to teach your kids how to disagree respectfully. So one of the greatest challenges that not just kids, but people in general face is understanding how to respectfully deal with someone when you have two different opinions or when you disagree. So some basic rules that you can teach your kids is one, don't judge other people before you get to know them. So, get to know people before you just think that they are mean or they are rude. Actually get to know them first. Another thing is my favorite rule. We all know the golden rule: treat others the way you want to be treated. And that is just, self-explanatory. If you don't want to be treated this way, if you don't want to get called out your name, then don't do that to other people. Last thing is listen before you jump into an argument. A lot of times we are so ready to state our point that we're not listening to the other person. So listen to what the other person is saying and then say what you have to say. So one thing I like to do is use I statements. Now, a lot of times we use you statements. You did this to me, you did that, you made me feel like this. And when you use you statements, it automatically comes off aggressive. It automatically seems like you're blaming them. When you use I statements, you take the blame off the other person. Another thing you can do to teach respect is set rules for respect. So a lot of times people have family rules. No name calling, no bad language, no taking each other's belongings without asking. So just simple things like that teaches kids about respect and respecting others and respecting their space. And when it comes to setting rules like that, be sure to give consistent consequences when they break those rules. So if they do have name calling with their siblings, give them a consequence. But on the same hand, give them compliments when they follow the rules and when they, complete a task. So make sure, we're doing both. We're giving consequences, but we're also, giving compliments and praising our kids. So let's talk about responsibility. The first thing is to start young. And it doesn't have to be, something extravagant. One of the simplest ways to teach responsibility is to let your kids help you. When you're doing housework, let them dry the dishes or something. Yes, it may take you a little bit longer, but don't get frustrated. Don't get angry, because it's teaching them how to do things. It's teaching them life lessons. It's teaching them responsibility. Okay, it's your job on Tuesdays and Thursdays to dry the dishes. Just something small like that. It's your turn on Wednesdays and Fridays to pick a movie. So just little things like that would give them a great sense of responsibility, and it helps them feel valued and feel like they matter. Another way to teach responsibility is to praise your kids. So when they do something right, when they remember to dry the dishes, when they remember it's their night to pick a movie, give them that praise, give them that compliment. Children will develop that sense of ownership when they have responsibilities like that. Now, even though I say give them praise, you want to try to avoid rewards. Now, with some kids, rewards might help and they might work for them. But sometimes when you do rewards for something that they are supposed to do, then they get that entitlement that, okay, I did this, even though I'm supposed to do it, I still get a reward. And that's just not how real life works. So try to keep the rewards from when they go up and beyond and over and beyond and do something extravagant. Save those awards for that, but always try to give praise and compliments when they actually do what they're supposed to do. Kids thrive on order and structure. Have a morning routine, have a night routine, so that they have that responsibility. Okay, I'm supposed to brush my teeth, supposed to get in the tub, I'm supposed to get in my pajamas, and they get into the habit of that. And the last thing when it comes to responsibility that we're going to talk about today is to teach consequences. I said this earlier when talking about respect. Consequences are important, and it's important that we do consistent consequences. Consistency is key. When you enforce the rules, kids are more likely to comply. And that's just real life on a job, adults. When you know that if you do this, something's going to happen, then you're more likely to do what you got to do. So it's important that we have consistent consequences. We enforce the rules so that kids can understand that, okay, if I don't do this, then this is going to happen. So that is the end of this session about respect and responsibility, but I have to leave you with an activity. So with your kids, come up with 5 ways that they can show self-respect. So go back in the video and see what we talked about and come up with a couple of ways that they can show self-respect, and also come up with 5 ways that they can show respect to others. So, you know, the golden rule and different things like that. So hopefully you learned something from this video, and I will see you soon.